right, guys. Thank you for joining me at this America reopening. As you know, those are the good words that's happening now. I think the last time we broadcast was back in April the 30th or whatever. So the latest ones that we know now is things are opening. And today is Thursday the 7th, which is the National Day of Prayer. So, I was listening to it sometime this morning, and they had some really good prayers and stuff, for everything, and it was really cool. I got really inspired, and listening to a lot of the people speak, it was really cool on there and stuff. But yep. So America is opening. Some of the states are already open. I'm just gonna put that little logo here so I get it all of our way. If you guys know, today is National Day of Prayer. In case you guys don't know what it is, it's a day of where America is praying, and it's a interesting day on that. So, um, as you know, I hope all is well. I hope you guys are safe, and I hope things are good with you guys. And I got some interesting things as far as topic wise of what's happening on there. And meanwhile, let me hear what you guys think about this whole thing. If it's a good idea to be open or still wait. I know that's one of the spies on there. But in the meantime, let's just look at the totals right now. Right now we're at 3,078,000. So 3,078,000 worldwide. Looks like the United States at 1.29 million. Spain's at 221,000. And Italy is number three at 216,000. Britain, the UK, is at 207,000. Russia's at 177,000. Germany's at 170,000. France is at 138,000. Turkey's at 134,000. Brazil's at 132,000. Iran's at 103. China's at 82,000. It's really funny about China is that last time I looked was, and I know it was recorded, it was like 83 something, almost 84. Now it's 82. So it's just interesting. I don't know if the numbers go up or go down or what. So it's kind of interesting. I thought it was kind of interesting on that. Let's see here. Canada's at 64,922. Canada's going up there, and Peru's at 58,000. India's at 52,952 thousand. And speaking about India, I got some news on the India. Things are happening there. It seems like India, sorry. There's some spike on that happening as well. Um, Also, we're going down to Belgium. Belgium's at 51,000. Netherlands at 41,000. Saudi Arabia's at 33,000. Ecuador. Now, I haven't seen Ecuador. It was like way bottom of the list, but I think I remember last time, and I said that it's because the totals haven't been numbered. They haven't came across about a lot of the totals yet. So that could explain why all these things are happening, I guess. So we'll see regarding what the heck is happening on there. So, but that's what they say. It's like the totals are growing up on there. So, yeah. So that's on there. Switzerland is at 30,000. Mexico's at 27,000 and something. Portugal's at 26,000 and something. Pakistan is at 24,000. Sweden, 24,000. Chile's at 24,000. Um, let's see here. Ireland's at 22. Singapore, 20,000. And let's see here. Israel's at 16,000. Austria's at 15,000. Japan's at 15,000. Poland's at 15,000. Romania's at 14,000. And the list goes on there with different ones on there. I can keep going on, but don't want to keep repeating all my numbers on here. So I want to thank you for joining Stories with Friends and Buds. Hey, happy National Day of Prayer to you and all you out there as well. I'm gonna look at the live chart right now. You're looking at these are the live reports on the data on there. So let's go with the East Coast because there's a lot of actions happening there right now. Rhode Island, there's some new numbers that came on, new cases. Now this is live. This is new. This is what's happening right now. So Rhode Island just had 9. What was that? Rhode Island, New York. It reaches at 1,600 cases. See here. New Jersey's at 18 at a nursing home. Yeah. There's been a lot of stories on the nursing home. On I would say down at the East Coast in New Jersey on that. So I believe there's a story following up on that. So I'm just gonna turn up my volume here for a second here. Make sure y'all can hear me okay as we tune up on there. So bear with me 1 second, making sure my volume's up. Okay, so it's going forth on there. So I'm going to close out on there. All right, let's see, what is it doing here? Just close that out. Okay, so moving down the track here, as I mentioned, New Jersey here, they got a total of 6,837 on there. Let's see here. Virginia is at 200. Some new cases on there. Let's see. North Carolina 805. And then South Carolina. What was that? Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if you guys just saw that. It was like a bird flu thing that popped up on there. Kentucky, you see 19 new cases there. Let's see here. South Carolina, I think I just said that on there. Virginia, 200. Let's see here. District of Columbia, 2,000 cases on there. Maryland, okay, 262. 9,000 on there. So there's a lot of things happening down there in the East Coast. Okay, so Pennsylvania, there's some new cases on there and stuff. So I don't know if these numbers are true or not. There's been debates on there of things of not being right, and so let's go to Guatemala. Guatemala, 16 new cases there. Mexico, okay, 570 on there. Let's see here. California, there's a 5th person, but I don't know what that means, 5th. Let's see here. California, 29 more on there. And let's see here. What does it say over here? Okay. It said something about Starbucks. Maybe somebody just got picked up. Okay, 16,000 cases in California on there. So it's still pretty high up there. 57 new cases down in Oregon. Let's see here. Idaho. They say increasing numbers, but they don't tell you the numbers. It's because they're still probably adding some stuff up here. Montana, two new cases there. Come on. Okay. What is that? Wyoming. Let's see here. Two new cases there. Colorado. They don't have any cases there. Texas, 50. And Laredo. Okay, so on that, as the numbers kind of, these are just numbers right now, but, they kind of fluctuate as far as what's happening on there and stuff. So I'm not promoting, I don't want to promote, stuff that's, they say it's happening. So I don't know. We'll see what happens and stuff. So, as you know, things are moving, things are opening. Some of the states are already open. I think I gave a list on some of it that are happening already. So that's good news. So a lot of us are be able to get back to work on that and stuff. One thing I heard that some of the restaurants are now being opened in some cases on there, but what I heard, especially in the California area, the saloons, I mean the what is it, saloons where you get your haircut and hair dyed and all this stuff, they're still closed on that. So a lot of the people getting their haircuts and stuff are closed, which kind of sucks. But I'm sure there's ways around it and stuff. But some of the restaurants, what I heard, they're starting to open up on there and stuff, and the markets, I've noticed, are still, going in markets, you may notice there too. So you're required to wear masks and stuff. So a lot of the people are wearing masks no matter what. So you go into your Home Depot or whatever is open on there and stuff, people are wearing masks and stuff. But I noticed people are kind of easing off on that now as well, and especially in the beach areas. I know the beaches are open. Some of the beaches, I would say, most of the beaches are open and are starting to open and stuff. So there's some stuff. Speaking about beaches, I just want to show you something really cool, interesting, I would say, on the beaches on there. So if you just bear with me for a second here, and I thought it was kind of cool to share this with you guys. So hold on a second. Okay, here we go. So in the California beaches, you may see some of these things here happening. It's called the blue wave, and there's a thing called the blue wave and the red tide. So I'm gonna put the blue wave here. Let's do that little picture there, and then you got the red tide. So you got the red tide and the blue wave happening here, and so this is in the California oceans. Especially like in Orange County and the different places where, they were trying to fight over the opening on the beaches and stuff. Sorry about that; it's kind of frozen up there. But so this is a phenomenon that's happening, which is kind of interesting on there. So they call it the blue wave on there, which is really cool on there. So. Blue on the left hand side, red ties on the right hand side. This is really cool on there, and when I look at the stuff, and I might say some stuff on the prophetic meeting. By the way, if you guys are into the prophetic worship gathering, that's going to be on the other channel, Prophetic Worship Gathering Live. So that'll be at 7 o'clock. So if you guys want to join in there, for some prayer and worship, and I always call it soaking. I don't really call it worship and stuff. So you may want to join in there, a little bit of prophetic time on there. But when I look at this blue wave and this red tie thing, kind of reminds me of the election that's going to happen. It's like the Democrats and the Republican. Isn't that kind of weird? It's kind of weird, isn't it? But this is what I see. And I've been saying things like the natural and the spiritual realm is kind of colliding. So I believe God's doing some stuff on there. So this is the prophetic side of me in disclosing of the end time of things that are happening in the world. And so I see this thing happening, and it's just really interesting what I see in this stuff. So you see this blue tide in here. Let me see if I can get this picture up here if you can see what I mean. Okay, so we got this blue wave and the red wave that is happening in the ocean on there. Kind of like reminds me of the prophetic sign of things going to happen in November of the battle between the Republican and the Democrats and stuff. So we'll see what happens on there. Let me see if I can close that one out. Okay. Okay, let's see what's going on there. Okay, so that's what's happening on there, and interesting. Don't you think that's kind of interesting? I think it's pretty interesting on that. Pretty strange things that are happening on there and stuff. So anyways, moving on there. Let me see here. Let's see if this thing's moving here. Looks like I shouldn't have done that, huh? Uh-oh. So let me see if I can close that out. All right. Let's see. Let's close that out. All right. So we have these things happening on there behind the scenes, and the question is, what is God doing with this whole thing? It's kind of weird, isn't it? I think it's kind of weird of what's happening in this time, this hour, and so let's see here. Let's move this thing out. Okay. So, anyways, to give you a little bit about the blue wave thing that's happening in red ties. Looking at this thing kind of reminds me of like the Revelation, in the scriptures it talks about it, about just the end times. So I think this thing actually kind of like of what's happening right now. Also, I just want to mention that there's the the super moon that's supposed to happen, and that's actually happening as we speak. I know they had the super moon starting, I think, last night, and you can see the moon kind of like really big and stuff. So that's what's happening right now as well. It's kind of funny. All these things are happening as we speak, and it's kind of interesting that we see all these things that are happening. So, anyways, moving in the time slot of what's happening, it just kind of reminds me of these scriptures on there. What's happening there? So, bear with me as we glide into that here. Let's see if I can move this out here. Let's see. So, this being said, it's definitely some interesting thing that's happening. I think spiritually on that, especially in this time of I would call it prophetic signs and stuff. Um, it's like what is happening, with this whole thing. It's really hard to say on there. I'm just trying to something's locking in my system here, so just bear with me for a second here. Meanwhile, if you can let me know what things are opening in your state. I know we've got visitors from all different places in the world, and you know, I know a lot of some of the places aren't really open yet, and they say things are being open, but it's not really being open. And you know what I mean? So if you guys could let me know what's open in your places, or the beaches are opening in some place. I know in Texas and Florida and stuff. I know they closed it for a while because a lot of people are going on there and stuff, and then all of a sudden it's open again and stuff. So I don't know. They keep saying a lot of stuff on there, so it's hard to say on there. So let me see if I can move on this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna have to reboot. Sorry. Let's see. Can't move it. All right, just clashed. So I'm gonna have to clone. All right. All right. So it looks like it's clearing up there. All right. Finally. All right. Sorry about that. I had my computer was freezing up there. Weird. Okay. So I'm back. All right. So I mentioned about all these things, but also the things which kind of weird is the different places that are open and closed. You know what I mean? And I don't know why these things are happening on that stuff. So, but here's something interesting to share with you guys. See if we can show this here. All right, let's get that going here. All right, check this out. Okay, now it says San Francisco providing free alcohol drugs to the homeless in quarantine hotels. Interesting. It says that the San Francisco is providing free alcohol, methadone, medication of cannabis to homeless people in hotels with the virus. That's interesting. So free alcohol, huh? Free alcohol and drugs to cope with the situation there. Wow, interesting. So you got that going there, which is kind of very weird, but sure enough, that's what's happening, right? Just bear with me for a second. All my screens just popped out and disappeared. And then also, here's something that you might want to check out too. In India, it looks like some places aren't open. Get this ear thing out of my way. Sorry. It says that in India, it looks like their lockdown is 44 days, and so it's going to go longer on there because there's a situation there happening on there. So You can see in India a lot of people wearing masks and so forth. Here it says that that's in India. What is this little ear thing? Um, there's 3,500 cases in the last 24 hours, total of 52,000 on there. So, like I said, we don't know these totals happening, but that's happening. This is 35,000 active cases in India, and so in my browser it said something about it not opening till the end of the month. I know some places aren't open, but they're starting to be open and stuff. But in some places aren't open, which is interesting on there and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know. Can't say what it is happening on there and stuff. This is from the Daily Caller, and this is what they said. A former CDC official saying that the president should quarantine for 14 days. I don't know. So they're sure saying these things and stuff. But we'll see on that. So what do you guys think on that, huh? Mm. Well, one thing happened today, um, that there is a major fire that broke out in Florida, and some of my viewers here are in Florida. From some of my friends are in Florida, so there was 100 people evacuated from a wildfire that went out of control in Florida in Panhandle, and so here are some of the shots on there, as you can see there. Um, the different fires and stuff that broke out, and this is in Florida, and so people are evacuated from the major fires that are happening in there. So what a bad time for all these things to happen. Oh yeah, I forgot to cover. Yeah, also another weird thing that happened is the dust storms, and that's another thing. This kind of reminds me of the dust storms, like this fire and stuff like that. All the smoke and everything happening there. So this is in Florida today happening on there. But with all these things happening, I mean, with the last couple of days, I would say, or even the weekend, there was this major dust storm that hit in Africa. But I remember there was a dust storm that happened not only in Africa but also in Idaho, um, but also in Arizona, and let's see here, pull this up here. Oh, in Wisconsin too. So you got to see this one here. Sorry about that. When you're doing live stuff, it just kind of things kind of crash, and so I hear So in all places in Wisconsin, there was a dust storm. They call it a pileup intersection in central Wisconsin, and so this is what it looked like on there. I don't think Wisconsin ever had a dust storm like that ever, but I can be wrong on there because I don't live there. But I have friends who do live around there and stuff. So uh, dust storms, for some reason, dust storms are happening in different places. This is in Wisconsin. Just happened, and then also there was a dust storm that happened in Idaho. Idaho, that's what I was going to say. In Idaho, there was a dust storm that happened. It happened on the intersection, so there was a major accident that happened. But then also in Arizona, there was some another dust storm here, and then the biggest one was, I would say, in Nigeria, and that was the weird, scary looking thing that happened. It kind of looked like something of the end of the world kind of thing. And me see if I can get a picture out that. All right, here it goes. See if I can get that close up for you guys. Let me get you that picture here. Okay, can you see that? You guys can see that. Okay, so this is a sand. They call it a sandstorm or a dust storm. I call them a dust storm, and this was in West Africa. So during the day it looked like something like this, but then at night it was like that. I had another picture that was like pitch like red, and it was like really scary looking stuff, you know. And let me see if I can pop up that video on there. Of course not. So that's not working on there. Too bad. But you can look at that in one of my stories. I have that on there. Oh, here it is. Yeah, let's see if I can pull this one up. Nope, can't open that. But it just reminds me of the apocalypse, I was call it, the end time there. So this is, if you guys can picture this, for this week, all these things are happening. You know, you've got dust storms, you've got these signs and wonders that are happening in the sky with the they call it the flower moon that's happening today. And let me see if I can get that picture here. Okay. Yeah. Boy, this is not This is not working out for me here today. Apologize for that. But anyways, so you have all these things happening around us, and it's weird. You know, you got the sandstorms, you got the dust bowls that are happening, and then you've got these meteor showers that are happening as well, and then you've got the signs and wonders that are happening in the ocean with the red and the blue tides and stuff, which is weird and stuff. And then a while ago we had the locust problem that was happening on there, but I believe they were saying something like it was like happening, and there was like a second wave that's happening. I haven't heard much about that. And then they were saying this giant, they call it a giant Asian hornet kind of thing. And then there's another article that said something about the mantis against the hornet, you know, and then the mantis one. So here we go. Here's the blood moon as we speak. That's happening, I believe, tonight in some cases, and tonight, and that's happening in some places right now. And I got a clip off of it, and it's in the archives on there. But you can see this huge moon, and they said this is like one of the final super moons until 2061 or something like that. But you know, it seems like we're having more of these things. Another article said that that this indicates it as like the dark sign of the last days and stuff like that, which is kind of true, because if you look in Joel, and we're coming toward Pentecost for you guys, and that's the 31st on there. If you look in Joel chapter 2 or Acts chapter 2, it talks about that. about the moon turning red and the volcanoes and the earthquakes and all this stuff. And then also in the book of Revelation, it talks about that at different signs and stuff like that. So that's just another topic for another time. But this is kind of like what's happening, man. I think with the whole thing. I don't know about you guys, but let me know what you think on there. It just seems like this whole thing happening um, as we speak on there, since we're in a topic on there and stuff. So, anyways, with these things happening and the different parts of craziness that I would say happening, it's hard to say what's going to happen next. I can tell you that it just seems like everything is just happening all at once, and it's very, very crazy how it's all happening very fast. Here's the one scripture I just want to pull up to you guys on talks about let's see here, the red ties on there. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Okay, here it goes. All right, and this talks about the six bowls. It says the first six bowls of wrath. It says, I heard a voice in the temple saying, seven angels pour out the earth the seven bowls of God's wrath. And the first angel came forth, the bowls of the earth. And it says, millstones broke out, sores. And then it says that they had, who had the mark of the beast, worshiped the idol, da da da. The second angel poured out a bowl into the sea, and it turned like dead, meaning the red ties, like the red ties, and whatever the blue thing. Third angel came forth, and he poured out a bowl into the rivers and the springs, and it turned to blood. I know we talked about that before at one time, about these things, but back then, they didn't have a thing called the red ties or you know, the different signs. Now we call them the red ties and stuff like that. But also the blood moons. It's like when you see a blood moon, what do you call it? They didn't know it was an eclipse at the time too. It says the fifth angel poured out on the throne. It says, and there was darkness. That reminds me of like the eclipse, total darkness on there. Sixth angel poured out on the rivers, and it was dry out, and then prepare the ways of the east. Da da da. And it says all these pestilence of frogs came out, the mouth of dragons, beasts, false, whatever. So pretty crazy stuff, I would say, on that. And the list goes on. So I don't know, man. I wonder what's happening on there. It's kind of funny how I wasn't gonna go and talk about this stuff, but because since my thing crashed and all these different things, and I'm live, so I'm just gonna have to go ahead and do it. So anyway, so what do we have? We have the opening that's happening now. It's really funny. I wouldn't say funny, but which is crazy. So we got all these places happening. They're saying that we have meat shortages and stuff like that, but people are starting to work. We have to wear masks. I think I mentioned you guys before too. I said that if they do open, they're going to probably require all of us to wear masks and stuff like that. And sure enough, that's what's happening. People are wearing masks and stuff. And that's probably, I don't know if that's going to go away. Now they have a fashion thing where, people are wearing these designer type of masks and stuff. And some of them look pretty cool. It's not that typical hospital thing, but it's like a black, and then it has all these different sizes and stuff. So I was seeing a lot of those stuff. I saw a picture once of, I think in Georgia, I think I talked about it, of someone's cutting someone's hair, and they were both of them wearing masks and stuff, which was happening. And I believe that was in Georgia and stuff. In other places, like in California, what I read so far is that the salons aren't open. So none of them is open. The restaurants are open, starting to open stuff. I don't know if they're going to require masks. I'm pretty sure they will. But the churches aren't, which is weird. So none of the churches aren't considered essential, even though we had a national day of prayer. So the churches are exempt from that. So I don't know when they're going to start opening the churches, man. So looks like we're going to be doing this until they tell us to on the live stream and stuff. But that's pretty much what's happening on there so far. Let me know what you guys think on there and what's happening in your state and stuff. Let me know what you guys are seeing. I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of weird stuff happening, and signs and wonders, bro. Just all these weird situations that are happening that don't make sense, but are happening. Okay, so I'm going to read some of the comments here. Let's see here. Okay, got a comment here. Is how long before the close again? Yeah, that's a good question. I know in the Florida, how they opened up the beaches and stuff like that, and then they saw these people on the beaches, and then they closed it again. I don't know if they reopened it. I think they did, and they did the same thing with the California beaches. They opened it up certain days and stuff, and then everybody came out, and then they closed it up again, and now they're starting to open up a little bit again. I remember in some of the places they have helicopters going around watching people and stuff like that. It just doesn't feel good at all. So I don't think when everything does open, things aren't going to be. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, we're back to normal." No, we're not. I don't think this whole thing is going to be normal. I think it's not going to be the same no matter what. It just feels weird. Even going out driving, going to the office and stuff like that, people are wearing masks and stuff. Going to market and stuff, people are just like, don't want to be near you because they think you have a plague or something like that. But this is what's going on. But yeah, let's see here, Jane. Yeah, amen. Central Florida, slow, but it's getting there. Beaches are open. Yeah, it is ridiculous, and we need to get back to work. That's right. I think a lot of us do need to start working and stuff because we're it's going to hit the economy and stuff, which is already doing it and stuff. So I think definitely on that stuff. But this is a crazy time, very crazy time. Reminds me of back in 1918 when they had the Spanish plague and stuff. But I don't know if they had a lockdown. I think they did, but we'll see, right? So these things are happening. But I just want to share with you guys on the weird thing about the beach. The blue tie, red tie kind of reminds me of the election thing, of what's happening on that. But then also the situation with the supermoon that's happening now, and the thing on Passover that's happening, which is kind of weird. All these things are definitely happening. So that's pretty much it that I want to share today. But I just want to tell you what's going on there. It's good to know that everybody's hopefully safe and sound, and I hope you all doing good. We'll let you know what's going on future reports on there, but keep your eye on what's happening next, and I'll keep reporting on more stuff. Thanks for listening, and you guys keep safe, and God bless you guys, and I pray, Lord, that you just watch over these people and keep them safe tonight, and what they're doing, and God, show us the things that are happening in this world, and how to be safe in this time, in this hour, in this craziness. Amen. All right. So you guys take care. God bless you guys, and keep safe.